Cody Rhodes is one of the founders of the original All Elite Wrestling. However, in April 2022, the American Nightmare would shock the world when he returned to WWE, leaving his EVP position behind, before going on to arguably become the most popular star in the business. Given his newfound heights in the wrestling world, what would happen if Cody was dropped back into AEW in today's landscape? Well, today we're going to be using brand new wrestling management game TEW 9 to simulate this scenario to see what happens. Will he go on to achieve World Championship glory, or will he once again be used as the gatekeeper of the promotion and the king of the mid-card championships? Well, let's find out. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you head over to tewdb.com where you can find the latest mods for TEW 9. And if you haven't already got the game, make sure you use the banner at the top of the page, which is our affiliate link, if you want to help support the site and the channel. So as you can see then, the undisputed WWE Championship is now vacant as Cody Rhodes has been sent back to AEW. So if we take a look at the company's major stars, then you can see that Cody is far and away the most popular person in the company right now, with the closest to him being both Mercedes Moné and Bryan Danielson in the United States, both being 68 across the board, whilst Cody is a massive 84. This of course due to his main event push in WWE. Not only has his popularity followed him over, but also his white hot momentum has, and he finds himself working as a face in the men's division under his legendary American Nightmare gimmick. It's not only the undisputed championship that Cody's left behind, as he was also the figurehead of the promotion, which leaves a void at the top of the card in WWE, with it being interesting to see if AEW put him in that position going forward. But now that we've set the scene, let's sim forward just over 1 year to the end of 2025 to see how things have played out so far. So here we are then on January 1st, 2026, and things seem to be going pretty well for Cody so far, as he has been named the Wrestler of the Year. So he holds that position for 2025. It was Bryan Danielson that won it the year before in the awards that we skipped. However, let's see if Cody Rhodes has won anything else. So if we go into achievements, we can see that he was the AEW Male Wrestler of the Year in 2025, which makes sense since he won the Worldwide Award as well, and he was positioned number 5 last time around. In terms of championship gold, let's see if he's won anything else. So returning to AEW, he was of course a 3-time TNT champion, and it looks like he's actually picked that up for a 4th time, a reign that lasted from March 2025 till June 2025, so not too long. And he would also win the AEW World Trios Championship with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, interestingly, this from February till April 2025. He also won the AEW International Championship from August 2025 to November 2025. So let's take a look at his championship matches so far. So he's actually competed in a number of title matches, both for the Trios Championships, the AEW World Championship, and the TNT Championship. So he didn't win any of the title matches that he was in 2024, but once it hit 2025, he would team up with Les Sex Gods to defeat Kenny Omega and FTR, another interesting team, winning by DQ actually, meaning that they didn't actually win the titles that time around. He would then take on Kenny Omega in a cage match on Collision, hitting a 94 rating, that with the TNT Championship on the line, and then they would actually win the World Trios Championships and another episode of Collision, defeating again Kenny Omega and FTR. And there's actually been a few championship matches between Omega and Rhodes, of course 2 of the founders of AEW. He would then defeat Kenny in a tables match on an episode of Dynamite, getting a 99 rating and winning the AEW TNT Championship. So I think an easier way of actually looking at this will be if we go into the championships themselves. So we're going to start with the Trios Championship, which I think was won first. So if we're going to view defenses, and we can see that the belt was won there on an episode of AEW Collision. Cody and Les Sex Gods would go on to defeat Darby Allin and Top Flight, Kenny Omega and Swerve in Our Glory. So Kenny coming back with different partners that time, and then they would lose the championships to the Elite, Jack Perry and the Young Bucks, on an episode of AEW Collision. So a lot of title matches on television here. I can't actually see any on pay-per-view, strangely. I think it was then the TNT Championship that he would go on to win next, And yeah, that happened in this tables match, as we saw earlier with Kenny. He would then defeat Kenny again on Collision. He would then defend it against Darby Allin and Bryan Danielson. Then Jack Perry and Bryan Danielson in a cage match. He would defend it against Jack Perry again. So it seems there's a bit of a feud here with the Elite going on, with the Elite version of Jack Perry. Darby Allin and Jay White again in three-way action were defeated by Cody. And then Jon Moxley would defeat Cody Rhodes at Forbidden Door to win the championship, ending his fourth reign with the belt. As for the International Championship, it seems that it was Jon Moxley once again that defeated him for it. He would win it all the way back August 2025 and would defeat Darby Allin. He would then defend it against the likes of Bryan Danielson, Konosuke Takeshita, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega once again, Bryan Danielson once again, before eventually losing it at Full Gear 2025 when Jon Moxley won a three-way match between Cody, Jericho and himself. As for his popularity in the company, Cody has gone down in popularity in Puerto Rico and Hawaii, presumably because there isn't a TV deal there, but he has gone up to 85 in the rest of the regions of the United States. He is now matched in popularity by Bryan Danielson, but as far as I can tell, nobody else comes close. Maybe Mercedes just 4 points behind in some regions. Same with Jon Moxley, but it is Bryan Danielson and Cody Rhodes neck and neck, at least in most of the United States, with Cody winning out in other regions across the world. So as it stands, he is still AEW's most popular wrestler, but they have yet to give him the World Championship, but he does have a reign with the Trios, TNT and International Championship in just over 1 year back in the promotion. But let's find out if he goes on to win the big one as we skip forward 4 years into 2030. And this time around, Cody hasn't won the Male Wrestler of the Year, but let's find out if he won it in any other years. So we saw him win it in 2025, then it was Walter or Gunther, Konosuke Takeshita, and then Mascara Dorada winning it the last 2 years, pipping the American Nightmare to the post there. In terms of most popular then, Cody has fallen, it seems, down to 28th in the world, with him not having as much success back in AEW as he has in WWE. Maybe down to the booking that he's received, because at least last time we checked, he wasn't being given a major push at the top of the card. And from what I can see, MJF has left AEW to go to WWE and has become one of the most over stars in the business. But we're not here for MJF though, we're here for Cody Rhodes, and we're going to see what else he has won during his time back in the promotion. So he's won a 5th and 6th AEW TNT Championship. He's now won the Trios Championships 4 times. He has yet to win a second reign with the International belt, but more importantly, the AEW World Championship is in Cody's resume now, with him winning it in August 2027, holding it until May 2028, before winning it back in February 2029, so just under 1 year later, holding it until the summer of that year. We're going to leave the mid-card championships and the Trios Championships, and we're going to take a dive into his AEW World Championship reigns. And it's going to be interesting to see if he's faced anyone from his former employer in WWE that might have jumped to AEW with him. So if we take a look at the history of the belt, then Cody would first win it in 2027, as I say, so he would defeat Konosuke Takeshita to win it, and then he would eventually lose it to Jack Perry, who dropped it to Chris Jericho for his second reign, and then Cody would defeat him, and Cody would then lose it to Hook, who would then drop it to Wheeler Yuta. So if we take a look here, Cody Rhodes would defeat Konosuke Takeshita for the World Championship at All in London 2027. This was after losing to Takeshita on Dynamite a couple of weeks before that for the belt. He would then defeat Takeshita again at All Out to put an end to his challenges for a while. Cody would then go on to defeat Brody King and Kenny Omega on Collision. He would defeat the likes of Brody King again, Darby Allin, Brody King, Swerve Strickland at MJF. He would defeat Malachi Black at Full Gear 2027, Darby again, Will Ospreay, Brian Cage, Takeshita once again, before defeating the now AEW World Champion Wheeler Yuta at Dynasty, and he would drop the title to Jack Perry at Double or Nothing 2028. So that was his first reign with the belt. How about his second then? So his second reign would begin at AEW Collision in February 2029, defeating Chris Jericho. He would go on to defend it against Jay White, Hook, Brian Cage, Darby Allin, Swerve Strickland. Hook, the person that would eventually go on to defeat him not long after. So that was on Dynamite. Then Cody would put it on the line against Dax Harwood, Sanjay Dutt, and Blake Christian at Double or Nothing, before Hook would come back and get his win at Forbidden Door 2029. 29 to win the belt. So where does Cody stand in terms of popularity then? So according to the game, this is all of the major stars in the promotion now, and there's quite a lot more than there was at the beginning of the game, with Cody's popularity 84 as we saw earlier. And in the United States, he is still one of the most popular stars on the roster, with not many people coming close, although Paul White is creeping up on him. Ricky Starks is also neck and neck there in terms of the United States, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be anyone that's surpassed him, and maybe the people that did surpass him left for WWE, as we saw with MJF, who is extremely popular now at the heights of 97. So if we're going to Cody's profile then and take a look at his achievements and see where he's ranked in the Power 500. So we saw the last time we checked, he was in at number 1. He would then drop down to 15th, 8th, and 12th, and he would also win the AEW Male Veteran Wrestler of the Year in 2028. So at the age of 44 now, he is considered a veteran of the locker room. As you can see over in the land of WWE, Rhea Ripley has replaced Cody as the figurehead of the promotion. As you can see, MJF is right up there amongst the major stars. The top 5 names in the promotion are Rhea Ripley, MJF, Julia, Konosuke Takeshita, and Zelina Vega, interestingly. So it looks like Takeshita, after losing the belt to Cody that first time, has actually jumped ship over to WWE there. In terms of the tour company for AEW, it is dominated by male competitors with Ricky Starks, Cody Rhodes, Tony D'Angelo, going by his real name, I guess, of Joe Areola. Anthony Bowens is right up there alongside Kenny Omega. But has Cody's initial popularity brought AEW any closer to WWE in terms of popularity? And it looks like for now they have not. They're still in number 2 in the world, which isn't bad. Again, with this mod, with it being a conversion of the TEW 2020 database, things aren't perfect, and it looks like once again New Japan Pro Wrestling have gone out of business, and it looks like maybe even AAA have as well. Although it's worth noting, I did delete some of the promotions going in to the save just so loading times would be faster, but I can confirm that both AAA and New Japan were in the game at the start. But hopefully this is the last time that we use the converted version of the database, and we can, if it's released soon, use the proper TEW 9 version of the database, which will see all these issues hopefully ironed out. And from what I can tell, at least the financial issues with promotions has been fixed, which will be great for these simulations going forward. But for now, we can see that AEW are number 2 in the world. Let's check out their popularity in the United States, and they're currently sitting 74s and 75s across the board pretty much all the way, apart from Puerto Rico and Hawaii, where again it seems they don't have a television deal. As for WWE, comparatively, they're up there at 93 across the United States, and not even close to catching them at this point. And it might take more than a Cody Rhodes to catch them. And with that said, their huge popularity appears to be enough to persuade many of AEW's top stars to jump ship, including MJF and Konosuke Takeshita. And it looks like Darby Allin has even been persuaded to make the jump. But with that said, let's see how the next 5 years goes for Cody in AEW. Can he get his 3rd or maybe even his 4th AEW World Championship reign? Or will one of the veterans of the promotion begin to be faded out for some new up-and-coming stars? Let's find out. So here we are then, January 2035, with Channing Lorenzo winning the Male Wrestler of the Year, being the first news piece that we've seen, and he's actually part of AEW now, joining Tony D'Angelo, his of course tag team partner in the promotion. So that's interesting to see, and he's now the best wrestler in the world apparently. In terms of popularity, MJF is now the most over person in the business, overtaking Rhea Ripley, who is now number 2. And if we look for Cody, it seems that he's not anywhere near the top, at least from what I can tell, and there he is down in 62nd, and his popularity has taken a big hit, with him dropping down to 78 and even 77 in some regions of the United States. So again, it doesn't look like things have gone to plan for Cody Rhodes over the last 5 years, and maybe AEW just don't see him at the top of the card like WWE do. And if we go to title history then, Cody is now a 10-time TNT champion. So we said said at the start of the video, will he become the king of the mid-card? And it looks like that has happened once again in AEW, with him holding the belt that he was the first champion of 10 whole times. He's also won the International Championship 2 more times. He's won the Continental Championship and the Continental Classic there in 2033. In terms of Trios Championships, he's now a 6-time champion, winning it 2 more times since we last checked, and he did win the AEW World Championship for a 3rd time back in December 2032, holding it until August 2033. So yeah, that was just over 1 year ago now at this point. He did have 9 defenses with the belt, and he has held the Trios Championships with the Acclaimed, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, of course Aussie Open, Phoenix and Penta, so the Lucha Brothers, and Ben Carter and ENA. I'm not sure who ENA is, but they were at one time Cody's tag team partner. And Cody has won the Full Gear World Title Eliminator Tournament 3 times. So let's dive in then and find Cody's 3rd reign with the AEW World Championship. And it looks like he dethroned Jack Perry back on AEW Collision in December 2032. That with Jack Perry, Jay White and Kenny Omega going at it in a cage match. Cody would then defeat Powerhouse Hobbs, Channing Lorenzo, Edward David, Griff Garrison and Sammy Guevara, Leon Slater, Titus Alexander. So some fresh names here in the AEW World Championship scene. Ortiz even got a title match. ENA, so his former trio's partner, before Cody made his last successful defense against Titus Alexander at Forbidden Door, before dropping the belt to Turbo Floyd at AEW All in London 2033. And yeah, that's right, actually. Yeah, he's part of the Outrunners tag team. They're sort of that 80s throwback tag team that's on Collision and Rampage quite a bit. And he's super over on the game as well. So yeah, pretty solid from him. And he was the man to defeat Cody Rhodes for the AEW World Championship. I think it was Wheeler Yuta that held the belt last time we checked. Then it was Jay White, Jacked Jameson, David Bostian. So again, more names that I'm not aware of. Maybe that's indie names of some NXT stars or something like that. Kenny Omega, Sammy Guevara, Jack Perry, Cody Rhodes, before Turbo Floyd won the belt, as we saw earlier, before he dropped it to Jack Perry and now Blake Christian. To Jack Perry also being a 3-time AEW World Champion, with the scapegoat gimmick seemingly going pretty well for him in the company. AEW still do not have a figurehead, and Cody certainly isn't it, given his lack of popularity now. So if we take a look at the major stars and the active wrestlers, we can see that, as we saw earlier, Cody is in and around the 77, 78 across the United States, with Anna Jay being more popular than Cody Rhodes on the game. So is Channing Lorenzo with a massive 85 almost across the board. 84 for Edward David, who appears to be a regen in the game. ENA just about pipping Cody Rhodes there. So is Harley Cameron. Jack Perry not quite, although he is a 3-time champion now. Kenny Omega is also more popular than Cody Rhodes. So is Leon Slater, Mariah May and Will Ospreay are all more popular than Cody Rhodes now. So he's very much lost his top spot in the promotion. If Tony Khan ever really considered him in that position, despite his massive popularity at the start of this save. But as I say, the booking of Cody hasn't necessarily been as the top guy, at least from what we can tell. It's certainly affected his popularity across the board. Maybe a bit of revenge there for the jump to WWE back in 2022. And 13 years later, he's still holding it against him. But as for recent news, there doesn't seem to have been too much going on. He was promoted to the Inner Circle. He was added to the booking team. He's been loaned out to the likes of PWG, Ring of Honor, CMLL, New Japan, and he did pick up an injury in October 2032. Not too long, just over a month there with a back injury, and he did extend his deal with AEW in June 2034, which will see him stay for some time going forward. And he does appear to have around 1 year left on his contract. And actually, if you look there, Cody is the reigning New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Tag Team Champion. So that's actually what we're going to check now, is to see if he's won any belts outside of AEW through their partnerships. So yeah, he was the Strong Openweight Champion in New Japan, and now the Openweight Tag Team Champion, as we saw. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's been anything else. Actually, their Owen Hart Foundation tournament won in 2031, so that's pretty big there. And I think that's about it. But from what I can think of, I think that just about covers that. If there is anything else that you want me to take a look at in these experiments, do let me know in the comments. Maybe there's something obvious that I'm missing. And yeah, this is definitely a work in progress, and hopefully you're enjoying it so so far, but any feedback or thoughts are more than welcome in the comments down below as to how we can improve these videos. But with that said, make sure you drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any future videos. And there is a series coming very soon. We're just waiting for the real world mods to properly kick in. As soon as Real World Chronicles by Questlove drops, that's when our main series will start. So it's not all just going to be experiments going forward. But with that said, until next time, peace.